we thought today was a good day. We put together a pretty good stretch this week. 4 practices that were pretty intense, even though the first couple were just in helmets. But just the approach to the work. Here the last 2, being in pads, got a chance to really work on the fundamentals and have add a little physicality to what we're doing. Continuing to build from that foundation. I was really pleased with what I see, and there's some competitive moments where guys are still working to make sure we're maintaining the control of our emotions, as well as making sure that we're taking the proper steps to continue to improve with the little things. And that's something that has been a constant message throughout. I feel like we're really much further along, and you see guys competing with each other, not just against each other. And we still got a lot of work to do, but I think that we're seeing good flashes on both sides of the ball. A lot of young players, a lot of newcomers, experienced players that look much better throughout their growth and development, and that's what we have to see. Now guys get a little bit of a stretch. They'll have spring break this week. An opportunity to rest up, and opportunity to be able to kind of reflect on the first 4 days. We get back here this next week, and then we'll have a pretty good stretch of 3 practices a week, which will allow us to really refine and pour into these next steps through spring ball, what we need to get accomplished.
Micah Pittman seemed to provide a couple of those flashes today, including the one where he laid out for the ball. Just what has he been through 4 days?
He's growing, and anytime you come from a little bit of a different offense, there's some of the nuances that you have to adjust to, and he's still working through that. I appreciate his energy and focus and investment of trying to get things done the way we're trying to do them, and you're seeing that confidence which is emerging. He's got playmaking ability. That's something that's shown up throughout these last few days. He had 2 unbelievable catches, one in the back end zone, one that he completely laid out for. It was impressive to see, and we need that consistent competition at that spot. But it's good to see these newcomers building in their confidence in what we're asking them to do.
Do you think the returning guys have picked up their game? It seemed like 88 and 21 today had some really nice plays.
They did,
kind of picking up their game.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And I know we talked about it at the beginning of spring. Those guys are both young players. They're 2 years into the program, going into year 3. This is where you should see strides. With Darion and Kentron, Kentron only played a couple years of high school football. He is just now coming into his own. Darion, the same thing, had a devastating knee injury his senior year in high school. Coming in here now, you see that confidence that's continuing to grow. Those plays that we believe they can make. They're starting to be more consistent making them. But it's good to see for sure.
Corey ran in that category.
Corey had a couple of great plays today. Corey, everybody knows he's got great speed, but seeing him, in the, trusting his tracks in the hole, a lot of people around him, being able to have the suddenness of movements and change of direction. I thought there was. I see some great strides that he's making. Rodney Hill had a couple of great plays today that I was excited to see him kind of get into space. I like that running back room, and I know we talked about really all of them throughout the course of the week, but from Trey Benson, Rodney Hill, those newcomers, and then getting Corey where he's starting to build in his confidence. That can be a fun group to watch. He's a young man that you look back to last year, and he wasn't, as he got here in the summer, and then he had I want to say it was 3 weeks right at the beginning of the camp where he wasn't available, so it really kind of to say stunned his growth. It really delayed the progress just for him to understand what to do. And then you saw that grow and emerge towards the back part of the season, playing very confident. Here at the start of spring, you're still continuing to focus on the consistency of those fundamentals and just trusting the things that he sees, building that football knowledge. I think the sky's the limit for him, and really pleased with his development.
Coach, what's your message before the players go off for spring break? Be exposed to they're not in your structure.
Yeah, well, that's part of when you build those habits of how you live and what you do. It doesn't matter where you are. whether you're home, away. Being a college football player, I mean, there's a lot of sacrifices you have to make. We talk about that all the time. I mean, these guys, they've got to make the choice whether they're here, whether they're away. I mean, doing everything in their power so that when we get back here, a week from now, that they're going to be ready to go out there and be the best that they can possibly be. You don't get to just press pause and forget about it. To be an elite player, to be an elite team, you got to be willing to sacrifice at an elite level. 365 days a year, and I hope they go and enjoy some time off. I hope they get to enjoy, and go have a wonderful spring break. But we need them to come back here, ready to go. And so we just talked about making great choices, great decisions, being safe, and making the most of this week off.
What was it about scheduling it that you wanted to do it this way, where you got a few practices and then took some time off?
It was, I wanted to really kind of force feed the beginning, and there's a couple factors, just with how the calendar was laid out this year. We didn't want to have the spring game on Easter weekend, really, so it really forced us to push everything, up, and I still wanted to make sure we got the 8 weeks in a winter program. And so, as we looked at all that, this provided an opportunity to kind of force feed the beginning, but then it'll kind of get to a more consistent approach all the way up to the spring game. So, probably more than what you care to hear, but that's what it came down to. Oh, absolutely, yeah, absolutely. You get to look back at 4 days, and what were the steps that we're seeing in that 4-day period of time. Maybe when it comes to conceptually, when it comes to guys, and their understanding of what they're being asked to do. There's going to be some movement. Guys that perform consistent and well for 4 days, they're going to continue to build in those reps. And you might see guys that are maybe going with the second group now jumping in more with the first group, or vice versa. So it'll be a good time for us to evaluate all that.
How's he evolved since he's been in Memphis, and what does he kind of do?
He's a great coach. He understands the importance of all the details within this offense. He's a great teacher. He's a coach that's led from the heart. And so building those relationships, making sure that he's there to support, his room, his players. Very knowledgeable and just big picture approach to offense and scheme, but it's somebody that's willing to invest, and he's got a great eye for what happens throughout the course of plays. I'm excited about what his future is going to be, but it's good seeing him take ownership of that room and the steps those guys are taking.
What have you thought of Tate? Specifically, maybe the last 2 days. How has he looked in your eyes?
It's really good. He's had a good 4 days. These last couple of days, I thought, coming off of Wednesday's practice, probably his best practice since he's been here. It was, you saw rhythm, you saw time, you saw, the accuracy of the ball, making quick decisions. Even today, some of those things showed up. I have to go back and watch it just in detail to see, all of it. But, I just think that he's starting to emerge with that confidence, and it's what we thought when we brought him here. And you're seeing him taking great strides. Really pleased with AJ Duffy, what he did today. For a young freshman, we've not watered it down for him. And I have to put this on him, but in a 4-day period of time, his retention and the understanding of some of the finer details, it is exciting to where he can go. We'll see.
How would you assess Caden the last week?
That seemed pretty aggressive.
Yeah, that was very aggressive. Yeah, spring break for him too.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
No problem. How would you assess Caden Lyle's first week?
I have to answer this while he's standing right there. No, Caden's done a really good job, and his, the experience that he has, but also the hunger to come in and to grow, to earn the trust of his teammates, to be the best communicator. I know I mentioned him earlier in this week. The amount of time that he spends up in the office, sitting in an empty room with just himself and watching film, and that investment's it's big. And we talk about the sacrifices that are necessary. I think he lives that out. And you see his size, his strength, the ability. He really moves well. I'm excited about what he's bringing to this football program. All right, guys, thank you.